Hey everyone, welcome to Love to Create by Tonya. Today I'm going to be working on some farmhouse style Valentine's Day decor. And in DIY number 1, I'm going to be making a topiary tier tree. In this design, I used just some tin cans from the kitchen that I'm going to repurpose. Now I decided to use some of the dowel rods that I had purchased at Walmart. And I am going to be gluing everything together with the super glue that I purchased from Dollar Tree. Now the idea of this design is I'm going to try to make the cans kind of appear like tree bark in a way. And I'm going to take the white chalk paint and I'm going to apply that first, and I'm going to make sure I go around the can in that direction. So as I layer the other paints on, it'll kind of give that illusion of a tree. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that Waverly antique wax, and I'm going to apply a layer of that on top of the white chalk paint. And this is a really neat effect to get the illusion of wood if you use the white chalk paint as a base and then the antique wax as your second layer. And then I'm just going to be taking some of the black Waverly ink colored paint and I'll be applying that onto the top. You don't want to get real heavy applying this coat. You just want enough in different areas that it gives the light and darkness, and that's what will kind of make it look like a tree bark. And you can see how the grooves in the little cans help add to the rings in the tree. I'm just going to dry mine with my heat gun. Now I thought I might be using those little grapevine hearts, but I ended up doing something different, but that would have looked good also. And of course I'm going to be using that pool noodle again, and the pool noodles fit perfect in these little cans. And this is definitely a technique I'll be using again. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below of that little tip. Now I'm just going to take some of the greenery that I had on hand, and I'm just going to start popping it in and kind of forming it out like branches of a tree. Now I do take a little bit of that reindeer moss later and just fill in around the base of the stems there just to cover up more of that red, which you could paint that if you wanted to and not have to worry about that. Now I took some of those little hearts that I had purchased at Dollar Tree and just had glued those on the front instead of the grapevine. And now I'm just going to take this little stencil that I purchased also at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add love to the top and then put the little bird in the middle and another little heart at the bottom. And I think this made an adorable little Valentine's Day decor piece. And I love that you'll be able to leave this up through the spring and summer season also. Well, everyone, you'll have to let me know what you think of this one in the comments below. I did add a few of the little rope twine bows to the top of each heart, you can see. And here we are, calling this one done. Okay everyone, for DIY number 2, I'm going to be working on a vintage style piece of wall art. And these colors got a little bit of a fall vibe, but I still just love the vintage look. Now the first thing I'm going to be taking is some scrapbooking paper, some more of those little hearts, a dowel rod, and some of my little beads. And then I have this little wood tray that I started working on that I'm going to repurpose for this project. Now the greenery I purchased from Amazon, I'll leave the link to that one below if you would like to purchase some. The first thing I'm going to do is take my Waverly Chalk Paint and I'm going to apply that to the dowel rod and my beads that I had glued together. Now I'm going to take this piece of vintage scrapbooking paper with the roses and I'm just going to cut it to fit right down into the center of this little wood tray. And I usually just tuck mine down in there with my fingers, and then I'll usually add a little bit of the rope twine around. That way if any of the little areas are cut short. Of course, I just used a little glue stick to glue that down. And also, any of the tools that you see me using, I will leave a link to those in the description below. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of that rope twine around the edges of the paper, decide where I want to put my dowel rod from my hearts to hang from. Now I'm just going to tie my hearts on the dowel rod with some of that greenery vine that I purchased from Amazon that I also have a link below. And then I added just a few little of those little rope twine bows to each heart. Now I do end up moving my hearts over a little bit and gluing them together at the end of the project, but you could do them either way. Now I'm just going to take my stencil and stencil on Happy Together. Now I like it in the black, but I did end up adding a few more layers of color. I think I went over it with a white and gold marker, but you could do it either way. And you can see I just took that marker and went around the edges just to make it look more like wood. I did go back and brighten it up a little bit with the white chalk paint on the frame. And that was just personal preference. I just wanted it to be a little bit brighter. And you can see I took and wrote Love and Always on the hearts with my gold marker, and then I highlighted that a little bit again with my white marker. But I just love how this design turned out also. You'll have to let me know in the comments below which one of these is your favorite and if you might give one of them a try. Well everyone, I do have several more of the Valentine's Day themed projects that I want to try to get out this month to you. And I will tell you, I am going to kind of stick with the vintage theme a little bit, and some of them I'll go the classic Valentine's Day. But I will try to make all of these where they can follow right straight through into the spring season. And now you'll see where I decided just to move my hearts over and I kind of glued them together for the finished project. Well everyone, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you do so, and I will see you next time.